Hello. I have arrived to React Andy today. Hello. Okay. I actually found a channel that has like various very easily reactable videos. Well, sort of. And if you guys have any suggestions, feel free to throw them in #submitfun. As always, we'll prioritize whatever you guys send. So yeah. Oh, feel free to share it. Put it in Submit Funny, and I'll check it out. Got a 9. Good for you, yeah. It's like I beat the neighbor's kid at the fucking play yard today, and they couldn't put up a fight at all. I'm a pretty big boy. It's safe for Twitch. It means other people are in there. Yeah, Ray, yeah. I don't know. I mean, keep in mind that that guy who got a 1 parse in P5, he had like good parses on like alliance raids and shit like that. He does. I have some popcorn. Parsing in normal. Yeah, exactly. So yeah. Actually more like uploading normal. Okay. Safe for Twitch. Does this mean that it's... Okay. What the fuck is this? Kuono has been sending HoloLive clips. Kuono has been sending HoloLive clips. What the fuck? Okay, let's see what kind of horny shit Kuono is into. Oh no. Oh no.
いやぶっちゃけこんなすぐに行くとは思わなくて、多分15分ぐらいかな行ってて、マジで舐めてたわ。待って、本当に私水着配信するの？いやガチな話するとさ、これ多分会社に確認取んなきゃいけないんだよね。取ってないよ。だって行くと思ってなかったから。ヤゴをリツイートしてた。嘘じゃん。嘘でしょ。適当なこと言うなマジで。
There he is.
このスケベどもが。社長 OK ってことだから OK じゃねこれ。そういうことか。俺らの味方ヤゴなんだよそれ。タグ作るかこれタグ。
The translation is weird. What they actually said was our ally Yagu
と水着配信やばいって待って日本のトレンドにいる
ヤゴ
ヤゴと水着配信ってもしかして一緒にするトレンド現在ツイッターの日本トレンドヤゴと水着配信1位でございます
Price of fame
世界トレンド1位も夢じゃないいややめろ世界トレンド1位までいったらもうなんか海外の人までなんだこれはヤゴと水着配信何これおじさんじゃねえかってなるじゃん世界トレンド1位まで来たよソロライブってグローバルだね
I wonder if she actually did. I hope she did. I hope she did. Sassy got a 2 on P9. You know, considering how salty he got last time I called out the fact that he's not, you know, sort of on top of his game. Just gonna stay quiet about that. Huh? Just gonna stay quiet about it. I do hope that she did it. Okay, so I have this YouTube channel called AM Glimpse. They have like a bunch of interesting 15-minute videos about like scams and shit like that. So maybe we can watch some of these. Representing mentors. The perfect reaction and exactly. And it's not very popular yet. It's clear they only have 20 videos, but one of them has 1.2 million views. So they've kind of blown up since then. Well, this one doesn't have a whole lot. Maybe we can watch this one and this one, so that they get more views. That would be like 1 view from Mae-mae. It probably, you know, makes the channel blow up. So which one do you guys want to watch first? Billions Lost in the Ocean, or the Coca-Cola Killer, or the reality TV show that never existed? Fake Saudi prince who fooled everyone. Bitcoin I think I watched this Bitcoin heist just a second ago. This one is really funny. This one is really funny. I actually know this story, but it's actually really interesting. I guess we'll start with this one, since you guys,
thank you for,
as usual, are very strong in your opinions. So let me put myself here so that we can watch some React Andy. This one is pretty funny.
Norman, I'm sorry to call you. Listen, we had a report of a disturbance at your house, and there were shots fired. Is your husband Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, man. He's been killed. He's been killed, man. I'm sorry. Listen. No. Try to calm down.
On the morning of August 5th, 2009, 26-year-old Dalia Dipolito left her townhouse located in Boynton Beach, Florida, to go to the gym. She paused her workout to check her phone and saw a missed call from a number she didn't recognize. She called back and it was the police. Something terrible had happened to her husband, Michael. They asked her to drive back home immediately.
This is a really
As
funny
she turned
story.
onto her street, she saw police cars, camera crews, and
I
forensic
swear.
investigators on her front lawn.
Trust me.
A police officer told Dalia that her husband had been killed. Later that day, a distraught Dalia was being questioned at the police station. She can be seen looking defeated in an interrogation room before seeing someone in the doorway that shocks her. It was her husband. alive and well. Michael DiPolito grew up in Philadelphia, where he battled drug addiction for most of his younger years. He was in and out of rehab during his 20s, but eventually fell into drug dealing. Wanting to make a change in his life, he relocated to Florida and began working as a telemarketer. The company that employed him turned out to
You know, I'm sure after having a history of drugs, it's hard to get work. So as an ex-telemarketer myself, I can respect the choice of trying to get sort of whatever you can.
to be a scam, but Michael thrived in this profession and discovered he was a natural salesman. When the scam business inevitably dissolved, Michael decided to set up his own telemarketing operation. In 2002, he was arrested and convicted for unlicensed telemarketing, communication fraud, and grand theft. He was sentenced to 2 years prison. He was released in 2005 with an extended probationary period of 28 years and was also ordered to pay restitution of over $200,000.
Does he have anime figures on the background?
Also ordered to
He does. Very nice. A man of culture.
pay restitution of over $200,000 to his victims in small monthly installments. Michael was still struggling with drug abuse, but worked hard to get sober, and in 2007 married his longtime girlfriend Maria. That same year, Michael started his own online business, Mad Media, selling ad space and offering SEO services. The business was doing well, but his marriage started to suffer. In October 2008, Michael decided to meet up with a sex worker while Maria was out of town. That was when he met Dahlia Muhammad. Dahlia was born in New York but was raised in Boynton Beach, and unlike Michael, had a stable, typical childhood. She started sex work at age 19 and helped run several escort agencies in South Florida and California. She also worked as a real estate agent part-time and appeared to be quite well off. It was love at first.
At the same time, she was a sex worker and a real estate agent. That. How do you put that in your CV? That is a very interesting combo of occupations. Very nice.
Sight for Michael and Dahlia. They met up again the very next day and Dahlia waived her fee. Just a few weeks later, Michael filed for divorce. A few months later, Michael proposed to Dahlia with a $26,000 diamond ring. Michael's divorce was finalized on January 28, 2009. That same day, he bought a newly renovated 3-bedroom townhouse in an affluent neighborhood for $238,000. He paid for it in cash. Dahlia was the realtor and received the commission from the sale. They officially tied the knot just days later and enjoyed a comfortable life together.
He does.
Michael ran his successful online business from home, and Dahlia would show houses a few days a week. Michael was still on probation and had been maintaining his sobriety, so the couple was limited in their activities, but still enjoyed dining out, going to the gym and beach, and watching movies and reality TV together. However, as the months went by, Dahlia became increasingly frustrated that they couldn't travel beyond Palm Beach County.
He's on probation. What the fuck do you mean?
At the beginning of March 2009,
Calm
Michael's
down.
probation officer showed up to the home with a
Patience.
search warrant and 10 police officers. There had been 3 anonymous phone calls made about illegal drug possession in the house. The police conducted a thorough search but found nothing. The couple decided to distract themselves from the unsettling events with a romantic getaway at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Palm Beach. However, they were confronted by police again after receiving an anonymous tip about drug dealing occurring out of a grey Chevy Tahoe, the same vehicle Michael drove. The car was searched, but the police found nothing. At the end of that month, Michael and Dahlia were enjoying a day of shopping together. As they made their way to their car to drive home, a specialist narcotics team was waiting for them, along with a sniffer dog. They had received yet another
As sort of like moderately starving artist, I sort of don't understand the culture of going out just to buy random things that you didn't plan for. Whenever I want to buy something, I always know in advance exactly what it is. I go get it and I go out. That's the mission.
anonymous tip about a large amount of illegal drugs being stored in a grey Chevy Tahoe and proceeded to search the car. This time, they found a small amount of cocaine hidden under the spare tire. Michael, who knew that cocaine possession violated his probation terms, was shocked and broke down in tears, exclaiming he had no idea why there was drugs in his car. He claimed he had never even opened the floor covering where the spare tire was stored. He explained to the authorities that he had been sober for 6 years and suspected his bitter ex-wife may have planted the drugs there to get revenge. The officer leading the search believed Michael and let him go, but not before noting Dahlia's oddly calm demeanor. Michael was too shaken up to drive home, so Dahlia got behind the wheel. Michael ran through all the possible scenarios of how the drugs got into his vehicle. The only person who knew about their stay at the Ritz-Carlton and that they were out shopping that day was Dahlia. Nobody else had access to his car either. He asked Dahlia if the drugs were hers and if
she wears red. Everybody knows that red is sus.
The suggestion. She reacted by accelerating up to 190 miles per hour. Michael had to apologize profusely to calm her down and begged her to slow down before she got them into an accident. 4 days later, 2 police officers were dispatched to the Dippolito's home in response to calls from neighbors reporting what they believed was a domestic disturbance. Michael and Dahlia were questioned separately and both stated that they had a verbal argument the previous night, and both denied a physical altercation took place. Plus, the officers did not observe any signs of physical violence on either Michael or Dahlia, or throughout the home. When the officers left, Dahlia decided that was the right moment to announce to Michael that she was pregnant. Over the next few weeks, more strange occurrences left the Dippolitos shaken. Dahlia received a strange phone call from someone who claimed to be Detective Hurley, but when the couple inquired at the police station, they were informed no such detective existed. The couple also found a threatening note left on their car after a gym session. The note demanded money and also included a phone number. When they called the number, a woman on the other end threatened to kill them both. Michael was growing paranoid and desperately wanted to end his probation. He hired a lawyer who negotiated a deal to end his probation if he could pay off the remainder of his restitution of $191,000 in full. Dahlia was going to contribute $91,000 and Michael would transfer her $100,000 so she could pay the lawyer in a single transaction. It should have been a straightforward process, but they kept hitting roadblocks. First, Dahlia's money transfer from her account in the Cayman Islands bounced. Dahlia then asked her friend to lend the money. The friend agreed, but wanted the house to be signed over to his name until the debt was paid off. Michael's lawyer became frustrated and dropped him as a client. Michael considered selling the house so he could pay off his restitution, but Dahlia was worried about their unborn baby. She had already started preparing for the arrival of the baby, buying pregnancy books and picking out names. The couple had also entered marriage counseling. In July, Dahlia told Michael that her friend recommended a lawyer who could get him on administrative probation while he paid off his restitution. This would make the terms of his probation much less strict. The lawyer told Michael he should sign his house over to someone else's name because owning that asset might hinder the process. By the end of the month, the house had been signed over to Dahlia. Just 5 days later, Dahlia would receive the news that her husband had been killed.
How convenient.
Let's rewind a few months and go back to March 17th, 2009, around the time the Dippolitos had the run-in with the police at the Ritz-Carlton. Dahlia reached out to her ex-boyfriend, Mohammed Shihade, who she had been seeing on and off for the last 8 years. Mohammed worked at a convenience store and had recently separated from his wife. Dahlia told Mohammed that her new husband was abusive, and Mohammed gave her the contact details of a police officer. The next day, Dahlia and Mohammed met up in person, and she surprised him with a gift, a $38,000 Range Rover. She asked him for help, and he forged a bank transfer receipt from an account held in the Cayman Islands. Mohammed had ties with the notorious Buckwild gang, and at one point met up with Dahlia at a clothing store that the gang frequented. Dahlia loudly announced she was looking to hire someone to kill her husband. Some gang members offered their services, and Dahlia even drove them to see her house and show them the area. But Mohammed later warned them that Dahlia and her husband had both recently been involved with the police. The gang members agreed it would be too risky and backed off. Mohammed then sold the Range Rover back to the dealership as it was a very conspicuous car. On June 20th, Dahlia and Muhammad met up again, and Dahlia admitted that she was trying to frame her husband for probation violation by planting drugs in his car. She
God
told
damn.
him she was also trying to figure out a way to get their house signed over to
She's
her
a fucking
name.
harpy.
On July
Not
31st,
good.
the two met up again, and Dahlia asked Muhammad directly if he would kill her husband for her. He refused, but told her he could put her in touch with someone who could do the job. Dahlia agreed. She had come prepared and handed over $1,200 in cash so the hitman could purchase a gun. She also gave Muhammad photos of her townhouse and of Michael, her husband, the target. That footage was taken from a hidden camera inside Muhammad's car. From their first meeting, Muhammad realized that Dahlia was being serious and went to the police. He had known Dahlia for years and understood her better than her new husband did. The police needed more information, so Muhammad agreed to be their confidential informant. The hidden camera footage from
Everyone's
Muhammad's car was enough for the police to take action.
Had their fill with her.
It was late afternoon on the 3rd of August. Dahlia and Muhammad met up with the hitman who would carry out the job of killing Michael DiPolito. Dahlia got into a red convertible to speak with the hitman, while Muhammad stood beside the car. But as we can see, this car was fitted with a hidden camera as well. The hitman was actually undercover police officer Whitty Jean. They discussed his $7,000 fee and organized Dahlia's alibi. And when Officer Jean asked Dahlia if she was sure, she replied,
Like 5,000% sure, like.
Okay.
it was undeniable evidence of solicitation. On the morning of August 5th, 2009, Michael DiPolito was in bed, recovering from his recent liposuction procedure. His wife Dahlia had just left for the gym. He then heard a knock on his front door. It was the police. They informed him that his wife had hatched a plan to have him killed and told him to wait at the precinct. Coincidentally, the popular reality TV show Cops was following the Boynton Beach police force at the time, capturing the day-to-day action of the officers. The police decided it would be great evidence and great television to stage an elaborate crime scene in Michael's front yard and film Dahlia's reaction. They brought in forensic investigators and taped off the area. When Dahlia showed up, the cameras were ready to capture the whole performance. Everything was going to plan. The police transported Dahlia to the precinct for questioning.
This is like
still
the most
playing along
hardcore
and
version of
treating her as if
Punk'd.
her husband
There
had
he
been
is.
killed. Back at the fake crime scene, a search of the Chevy Tahoe revealed Dahlia had taken her designer handbags and thousands of dollars worth of jewelry with her to the gym. Her plan was to make Michael's murder look like a botched robbery, so it wouldn't make sense if her valuables weren't stolen. At the police station, Sergeant Paul Sheridan, head of the Major Cases Unit, took Dahlia into an interview room and continued the act. He asked her if she could think of any reason why someone would want to kill her husband. She told him about Michael's history with drugs, his telemarketing scam, and his subsequent conviction. She told the sergeant that Michael was due to testify in some upcoming fraud cases and that he also owed his Mad Media business partner $40,000. Sergeant Sheridan told Dahlia that they had a suspect, a man who was seen running from her home, then brought in Officer Whitty Jean, who was handcuffed and dressed in casual clothes. Shortly afterwards, Sergeant Sheridan informed Dahlia,
"You're going to jail today for solicitation of murder. You're under arrest." That's an undercover police officer.
Dahlia denied any wrongdoing. Michael had also been questioned, and he told the police all about his suspicions. The anonymous tips, the drugs planted in his car, the strange phone calls, and the convoluted restitution payment attempts.
That's why.
It's kind of wild that we live in a world where a complete idiot like her can like set up, like try to solicit murder on someone like this. Like obviously her whole plan is idiotic, but like it's I'm sure in some place it would work out. It's kind of frightening to think that it's this simple to get something as lunatic, like as stupid as this sort of on the wheels.
Today, honestly, I'm not very surprised or shocked about all this, you know.
Sergeant Sheridan revealed to Dahlia that Michael was alive, to which she replied, "Thank God." Michael was brought to the interview room and stood at the doorway. Dahlia was taken to the county jail where she called her mother, denied she had done anything wrong, and demanded that Michael leave her house as it was under her name. Dahlia's next phone call was to Michael, the man she wanted to kill. She begged him to help her, The police had already shown Michael all the hidden camera footage of her clearly soliciting a hitman, but she said none of it was true.
Hello? Hey, it's me. Yeah, what's up? Don't you understand what just happened?
What they're saying is not true.
How in the hell did I hear it and see it?
I heard what you heard. It's not true. I heard what you heard and I...
This is what we call gaslighting, right? Is when when he literally saw a video of this motherfucker paying someone to murder him, and she's like saying, yeah, we both saw the video, but you know, it's not real. It's just, you know, something.
I saw what you saw. Everything they showed you, they showed me.
And how is it not? How are you telling me that?
I
It's
am
not
giving you my word that it's not true.
Michael said he would help her if she signed the townhouse back over.
Her word is very, very low on value, it seems, to some people. The statement of "I give you my word" is a very, very theatrical kind of statement, I guess.
Over to him, but Dahlia refused. Dahlia was released on $25,000 bail the next day and placed under house arrest at her mother's home. The Boynton Beach Police Department released a video of the staged crime scene online, and the story went viral. Michael appeared on several talk shows where he shared his perspective. He was still in total disbelief about the whole situation. It turns out Dahlia was never pregnant. She wanted to distract Michael, who was getting suspicious that she was behind all the anonymous police tips. She had tried to take matters into her own hands and kill Michael herself by putting poisonous antifreeze into his Starbucks.
What the fuck?
Dahlia had also been in constant contact with another ex-boyfriend, Mike Stanley, and she convinced him to help her take her husband's money and house so they could start a new life together. Mike Stanley called the house pretending
So,
to be...
like, what is it called? Like, people like this, like Black Widows? Like why, maybe I'm using the term wrong, but like people, like gold diggers who essentially kill their husband or wife, I guess, works both ways. And then once they're done killing them, they move on to a new man. Like how naive and stupid do you have to be to think that you are somehow special to this woman, or well, in this case woman, which is like, what prevents her from just setting up another idiotic scheme like this for you when she grows bored with you, right? What's the like mental gymnastics that you have to do, that you think that you're so special that a woman whose entire existence is basically built on betrayal isn't gonna betray you?
Dahlia's obstetrician, and he also pretended to be the lawyer who advised Michael to sign the townhouse over to Dahlia. On April 25th, 2011, Dahlia's trial began. Her defense attorneys argued that Michael was reality TV obsessed and masterminded the hoax to achieve fame and secure his own TV show.
You know, it's not like Michael here seems like a particularly good person, right? They have drug issues, they've been part in scams and whatever, but it seems like they're at least trying to get better, right? They're trying at least to get better. And I personally think that if you put effort in something, you can probably succeed as long as you don't sort of give up on it just because it's difficult. But she is literally like the embodiment of like, I am going to go the fastest possible route that I can think of to get as much profit as I can out of this situation. And if it doesn't work out, I'm just gonna tell everyone else that they're lying, and I'm right. I wonder, has that worked for her entire life? These kinds of people, like, they grow into adults with this kind of mindset, which implies, at least to me, that it has worked out for them so far, because you don't really grow out of habits like this until, you know, until you sort of you get like opposition to it. And she got her comeuppance very, very hard, but like, fuck, what kind of life do you have to lead to end up like this? Like, she was successful, right? She was wealthy enough to pay for like a $90,000 bail. That's a lot of money, right? So and it was not seemingly something that bankrupt her, and to like the house was huge, and like everything seemed to be pretty fancy in their life already. So she basically risked everything that she had built up so far just so that she could get more of something that she already had plenty of, which is kind of wild.
They claimed Dali was aware she was being filmed by hidden cameras the whole time.
No, she wasn't.
And was simply playing along with the stunt that Michael had planned.
Mm-hmm.
The jury disagreed and found Dahlia guilty of solicitation of first-degree murder. She was sentenced to 20 years, but the case was thrown out after an appeal found the jury was improperly selected. She was placed under house arrest again and had a baby sometime in 2016. Her second trial in 2016 resulted in a hung jury despite the overwhelming evidence. After 6 years on house arrest, Dahlia's third and final trial took place in June 2017, and this time, the jury took only 90 minutes to return a guilty verdict.
There we
The
go.
judge sentenced Dahlia to 16 years.
GG.
Her appeal in 2019 was rejected. Dahlia is currently serving her time in the Lowell Correctional Institution in Florida. Her son will be 16 years old when she gets out in 2032. Michael DiPolito, now 51.
Can't imagine the kind of life the son has to lead for having such a celebrity mother in like the worst kind of way. Like, oh yeah, your mother is famous for being an idiot and being a public idiot, and now they're in jail for it. So you don't have a mother to take care of you for the most important time of your like growth. And instead, you probably have to sort of deal with like, how do you handle the social stigmata that comes with being the son of this person. It's a pretty fucked up situation for the kid. Holy crap.
Gave a few more TV interviews to discuss developments in Dahlia's case, but is currently engaged and running his own real estate agency. The court had also ordered the townhouse to be signed back over to him. Mohammed Shihadeh, the whistleblower who prevented Dahlia from carrying out her plan, was found dead in his apartment in October 2021, aged 40.
Sheesh. I would... God damn, that was a grim ending to it. Holy shit. Okay. I didn't expect that at the end. God damn. Okay. Well, yeah. There was a very, very wild story. Like, holy shit. Okay. Let's see. Nope. No people have sent any submit funnies. Let's do this. Fake Saudi prince who fooled everyone. We are watching a bunch of whatever interesting videos happen to pop up. Submit funny, as always. We just watched a video about a woman who tried to hire a hitman to kill her husband because she wanted to get the husband's money or something, and they built a house and stuff like that. But she ended up hiring the police as her hitman instead because she was stupid. So she got 16 years in prison instead. Now we're gonna watch Fake Saudi Prince Who Fooled Everyone.
It's 1994 at LaGuardia Airport in New York.
If anyone in chat would like to have subtitles on, let me know.
Old Prince Khalid bin Al Saud of Saudi Arabia runs to airport police officers, screaming that he's been kidnapped, and points to the two men who had been accompanying him. If there are any of my loyal subjects here, please call the embassy. And CNN, the prince shouts at stunned onlookers. The confused airport police officers detain the men, who calmly present some paperwork and explain that they are bail bondsmen. The police allow them all to go. The two men rent a car, throw Prince Khalid into the trunk, and drive 24 hours to Miami.
Excuse me?
Jose Moreno was born in 1970 in Bogota, Colombia. At age 5, Jose became an orphan, and he and his younger brother, aged 3, were forced to fend for themselves on the dangerous streets. Colombia was in the middle of intense military conflict, and thousands of displaced children roamed the streets and sewers, trying to hide from predators and the death squads who targeted them.
The what?
For 2 years, Jose protected his younger brother fiercely.
Excuse me, what the fuck is a Colombian death squad? What? Sheesh! That doesn't sound nice. That sounds like something from fucking, like a sci-fi film, where they're like culling the population to balance out the world or something like that. What the fuck is a death squad?
Foraging and stealing food and finding safe places for them to sleep. In 1977, the two boys were picked up by an orphanage.
We are watching a video called The Saudi Prince Who Fooled Everyone.
And before they knew it, they were on a plane to Michigan with their new parents. Jim Gignac and Nancy Fitzgerald were a middle-class couple who were eager to give the two brothers a better life. Jose was now Anthony, and his younger brother was now Daniel. Their neighborhood was predominantly white, and the brothers were bullied in school. Anthony began telling his classmates that his biological mother owned a local hotel and his biological father was a famous actor. He continued telling lies throughout school to make himself seem rich and powerful. He became obsessed with TV shows that depict...
It's a defense mechanism. I can only imagine how fucked up an environment like they grew up in is going to make children, Like, honestly, at this point, I can't really blame the kids for the lying and stuff like that. I mean, I lied a lot when I was a kid too, and it was just like this. It was like a defense mechanism. Obviously, nothing as serious as this, but still. So I can totally relate.
Depicted wealthy families and started recognizing luxury brand names. In grade 6, he managed to convince a Mercedes-Benz dealership that he was a Saudi prince, and a salesman even took him on test rides. Anthony craved acceptance, and he believed he could attain it through material wealth. A few years later, Jim and Nancy got divorced. Anthony's younger brother Daniel was sent to live with his father, while Anthony stayed with his mum. Suddenly, the one constant in his life was gone, and Anthony suffered major mental breakdowns. He was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, but never received proper treatment. His mum could no longer handle him, and Anthony...
This is in the US, right? This is in the US. Was it mentioned where they were taken? Like, I really don't understand. As someone who has grown up in a country with free healthcare all of my life, I really, 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 really don't understand what is supposed to be the benefit of not having free healthcare. What is that supposed to do to anyone? It's just going to poison people like this completely. Like, if you get fucking diagnosed with bipolar and you don't get treated for it because it's too expensive or whatever. Free healthcare is literally communism, right? Yeah, right. Yeah, it's so fucking insane. And like the ideology that like having free healthcare is gonna be like burning through your paychecks, and it's gonna make all the things that you buy in stores so expensive and shit like that. It's like, I don't know. I at least in my experience, the things in Finland aren't any more or less expensive than they are in the States. And people get paid about the same as they do in the States. Like, yeah, it's a lot easier to get rich in the States if you have a good sort of start. Because the taxes aren't so rough on you. But if you're a middle or a lower class citizen, there's like no benefit whatsoever. It's wild. I don't get it. I'm sorry to get political here, but free healthcare is a good thing, I think. Yeah, exactly. If we give them free healthcare, it's gonna be book burning, and then concentration camps after that. Probably lobbying by the privatized. Yes, it is. It is. It's also obviously lobbying. Like USA is full of lobbying. There's a lot of lobbies in there, I guess. Because like they also have like public transportation is being held back like crazy by the oil industries and whatever, because their profits would obviously plummet if not everyone had to have 7 cars in their family, right? But like, you know, it's kind of wild. I don't know. I don't know.
Anthony was sent to state-run psychiatric hospitals and halfway houses. He felt abandoned and trapped in these facilities.
I don't
at age
fucking blame
17,
him.
Anthony ran away and found himself on the streets once again. Anthony decided.
Oh shit, for Abby. Of course she has a fucking war icon. God damn it, Abby. God damn it, you horny.
This was the perfect opportunity to form a new identity for himself. He started going by Prince Adnan Khashoggi, who was a real Saudi arms dealer and the world's richest man at the time. Anthony convinced an Arab family in Michigan that he was a Saudi prince and lived with them for a couple of months until he got caught. He then made his way to the land of glitz and glamour, Los Angeles, and managed to obtain a credit card under the name Omar Khashoggi. He was caught and convicted for failing to pay his $8,600 limousine bill. In 1991, Anthony turned 21 and really started to up the ante. His name was now Khalid bin Al Saud, which was actually the name of a real Saudi prince.
Oh no.
He racked up a $3,500 bill at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel over 4 days. He rode around in limos but never paid the $7,500.
You know, imagine I'm sure he's like living the desperation of like, I've seen this in televisions and that's what all the happy people do. This is what happy people have, and I don't. And the difference is visually easy to see. So whatever is the method, I must have the same honey that these happy people are slurping up.
Bill. He convinced the Louis Vuitton store on Rodeo Drive to let him have a set of luggage that his father, a Saudi prince, would pay for later. He was caught and spent a short stint in jail, while the LA Times newspaper dubbed him the Prince of Fraud. That same year, Anthony managed to obtain an American Express card under the name.
How the fuck does he, quote unquote, manage to obtain these American credit cards constantly with like completely fucking random names? How does that happen? What the fuck?
Khalid bin Al Saud. He stayed at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in San Francisco for several weeks before landing back in jail for 53 days. He then violated his probation and spent Christmas at the luxurious Halekulani Hotel in Hawaii.
He has figured out the secret to success is, if you don't mind going to jail for it as punishment, you know, you can kind of do anything, right? You can just go to fucking Hawaii and go in a luxury hotel and just, you know, have a blast for a couple weeks, and then you go back to jail.
Other guests at the hotel and conned a couple into writing him a check for $8,500 in shares for a Saudi oil company that didn't exist. He then convinced another couple to cover his $20,000 hotel bill before disappearing.
What?
In July 1993, Anthony turned up at Disney's Grand Floridian Resort in Orlando, where he ran up over $14,000 in fraudulent credit card charges. He pleaded guilty and was given probation, and once again vanished. He was caught after he swindled
what? Do we not learn from our mistakes? Is that not like one of the most core concepts of human intelligence is that when you do something and it clearly doesn't work out, you're gonna have to try something else. Motherfucker here has been given the same sort of sentencing every single time, and he always, quote unquote, disappears.
$27,000 out of the Grand Bay Hotel in Miami and $51,000 from the local Saks Fifth Avenue. He was charged with fraud and grand theft. While in jail, Anthony, as Prince Khalid, began calling lawyers to pay his bail. He promised that his father, a Saudi prince, would cover all the legal fees. Oscar Rodriguez was an attorney from Miami who saw this as a great business opportunity and agreed to take on the prince as a client.
God damn.
Oscar Rodriguez hired 2 bail bondsmen to post a $46,000 bond to release the prince. The bondsman picked up Anthony and drove him back to their office to wait for the money from the Saudi royal family. But when hours passed with no sign of the money, the bail bondsman had to drive Anthony back to jail. In the car on the way back, Anthony asked the bondsman to stop at an American Express office. He got out of the car, entered the office hysterically crying, and claimed that he had been mugged and all his credit cards had been stolen. He said he was fearful of how upset his father, the king, would be, and begged to get his cards replaced. The American Express staff asked him to verify his identity by correctly stating his last 2 purchases. Little did they know that Anthony had sneakily promised Rolex watches to other staff members who agreed to give him the correct answers. The next day, American Express issued him a platinum card with a $200 limit. Anthony went on a shopping spree before buying out the entire first-class cabin of his flight to Michigan.
God damn! How the fuck do people, like... I guess it's really easy to get, like... I guess this is what the American dream is all about, right? This is what the American dream is, right? You can just say to, like... I can just go to a random store and be like, hey, bro, can you give me everything in the store for free? My dad's gonna pay you, like, in 7 years. Maybe. And they're just like, yeah, sure, okay, take it. And I'm just gonna take everything and fuck off. How do people, like, why, what? Excusez-moi. Nani kore? What the fuck?
To donate $1 million to a university in his home state. Then he flew back to Miami the same day. The 2 bondsmen who accompanied him the entire trip started to believe he really was a Saudi prince, until they received a phone call from the American Express fraud department. This is when the altercation with LaGuardia airport police officers occurred. Anthony was sentenced to 616 days in prison, but being placed behind bars did nothing to stop his scam streak. It was now August 1994, and at some point, Anthony had reconnected with his younger brother Daniel. From prison, Anthony contacted Syracuse University and informed them that Prince Khalid wished to donate $45 million to the school. He requested that the university wire a portion of the taxes from the donation to his bank account based in Michigan. Syracuse wired $16,000 to a bank account held by Daniel Gignac. Both brothers were convicted, with Anthony receiving 46 months for wire fraud. He then had 37 months added to his sentence when he lit his jail cell on fire and spilled shampoo on the floor to make guards trip so he could escape.
What the fuck? What is this dude?
Anthony continued to run his grifts from prison through the late 90s. He fooled a Yale graduate lawyer and even had a meeting with Johnny Cochran, who was by then famous for his defense of O.J. Simpson. Anthony was released from prison in the early 2000s and returned home to Michigan to live with his mother Nancy. He went straight back to his old tricks. He was given 2 Cadillacs, no questions asked. He dined and shopped and stayed at hotels without ever paying the bills. All of this was because he convinced people that the Saudi royal family would send payments. In 2003, Anthony was arrested for impersonating a diplomat. He had charged $11,300 at Saks Fifth Avenue and $17,600 at Neiman Marcus to his, quote, family accounts. It turned out real Saudi princes and princesses did have accounts at the stores, but they informed the American authorities that they had no association with the Michigan Prince Khalid. This time, Anthony found himself in an interrogation room. He insisted that his name was Khalid.
This is the first time. This is the first time he has been interrogated. How much money has he scammed people for at this point? Like, there has to be like at least over $100,000. And this is the first time anyone's actually trying to figure out what the fuck's going on with this lunatic. Holy crap.
Al Saud, and even had plenty of presumably forged documentation to prove his connections to the Saudi royals.
Anthony Gignac is not my name. I actually legally changed my name to Khalid bin Al Saud. My social security number is Khalid bin Al Saud. My college transcript is Khalid bin Al Saud. I know it's hard to believe. Everybody, I know it's like, you know, this kid is super good. And I mean, I give myself credit for being intelligent enough. Okay, well, let me call the embassy and just show you how I can get a hold of the ambassador from Saudi Arabia.
I bet in an environment like this, he would think that like he's a genius because he's constantly successful in pulling off this shit. Sort of.
He even spoke some rather convincing fake Arabic, but ultimately wound up back in prison. He was in and out of prison a few more times over the next decade for running similar scams. It's now 2015. Carl Martin Williamson, a British asset manager with a background in law, was getting ready for a business meeting with a Saudi prince. Carl was well spoken.
That's what I thought too, Guano. That's what I thought. Or like have someone sort of monitor him, right? Like have someone sort of monitor him to make sure that like it's clear that this isn't stopping by giving him a slap on the wrist.
Charming and exceedingly skilled at telling lies. He had friends in very high places all around the world, so he was eager to meet with Prince Khalid, aka Anthony Gignac. Anthony had been living large in Miami. He was always covered head to toe in designer clothing and jewelry. He also had a new friend, a tiny chihuahua named Foxy, who never left his side. He had assembled an entourage who followed him everywhere and hired bodyguards who wore fake diplomatic badges. He was renting a 3-bedroom penthouse on the exclusive Fisher Island, but told everyone he owned the entire apartment building of 54 luxury units. It was like he was back at grade school, telling lies about his status and wealth to win friends. Anthony had a proposal for Carl. The world's largest company at the time, Saudi Aramco, had announced they were considering going public. The Saudi Arabian oil company was valued at a record $2 trillion. And Anthony claimed that as a Saudi prince, he could offer a quote, friends and family special for potential investors. Carl didn't hesitate. He agreed to set up an investment company for the prince, Martin Williamson International. Carl worked his connections and told potential investors about his opportunity to buy the pre-IPO, or pre-initial public offering, so that when Aramco does go public, they would see the same level of returns as the Saudi royal family would. High net worth individuals would need to first demonstrate their respect and devotion to Prince Khalid by presenting him with extravagant gifts such as jewelry and Rolex watches. Altogether, Anthony and Carl fooled 26 people into handing over a total of $8 million.
What?
None of the funds were ever put into business opportunities or legitimate investments. Not only did they con wealthy business people, bankers, and attorneys, they also convinced regular people to give them significant amounts of their money. Victim impact statements reveal that several of these people have not been able to recover from their financial loss. Carl helped usher Anthony into a whole new league of white-collar fraud. Anthony always knew how to look and talk the part, but now he had connections to real high flyers to give him credibility. Carl even purchased diplomatic license plates from eBay for the prince to adorn on his luxury vehicles. Anthony and his entourage hung out on his yacht, took joyrides in his Ferrari, ordered thousands of dollars worth of food at Miami's top restaurants, and posted it all on Instagram. But Anthony's appetite for opulence was only growing, and he soon found his next target.
I thought he was done. Fuck.
Jeffrey Soffa is a billionaire real estate developer who lived the life that Anthony Gignac pretended to live. The Soffa family owns...
Bro, Bear, this is from 2015. Security and data verification back then weren't that much different from how they are right now. It's just because, like, like for example, how it was explained with the, it did start, yeah, but it continued very successfully in like 2015 and whatever. Like the whole thing with American Express was in 2015, and it was like he went to an American Express bank and acted like he's a Saudi prince, and everyone was just like, okay. As soon as he started promising Rolexes, you know, because he's promised, like, people are so easy to bribe. That's what it is. It's quote unquote human error that causes him to get all these things. It's greed. It's like his greed is fed by the greed of those around him. And because he's been living around greed all of his life, he knows how to invoke that in other people. And he exploits it. Similarly, apparently pretty skillfully, considering the fucking horse shit he's doing now.
Several hotels and apartment buildings in Florida, including the iconic Fontainebleau Hotel in Miami. Jeffrey split his time between his super yacht and 3 mansions, traveled in private jets, and was married to supermodel Elle Macpherson. However, the Fontainebleau Hotel had been struggling with debt for several years. So when a call from a representative of Prince Khalid bin Al Saud came in, Jeffrey was immediately interested. The Saudi prince wanted to buy a 30% interest in the Fontainebleau for $440 million, an overvaluation of about $140 million. The prince informed Jeffrey Soffer's team that he owned an entire high-rise apartment building on the exclusive Fisher Island, but something about the way the prince was conducting business just felt a little off. Jeffrey did his due diligence and ordered a background check on Prince Khalid while inviting him and his entourage on a trip.
This is probably the first dude who has done a background check on this motherfucker. Holy crap.
To Aspen. They boarded Jeffrey's private jet and soon found themselves in the lobby of the Grand St. Regis Aspen Resort. Prince Khalid's phone rang. It was the management of the apartment he was renting. They had received an inquiry about whether he owned the whole building. Khalid realized that Jeffrey was onto him and reacted by throwing a huge tantrum in the middle of the lobby. "You've insulted my honor," the prince screamed. "My father, the king, is going to be very upset." He threatened to back out of the Fontainebleau deal unless the Sophers presented him with a gift as a sign of respect. The next day, the group reconvened for lunch. Jeffrey, who had already gifted the prince artwork and a $5,000 diamond-encrusted dog collar for Foxy, gave Khalid a $50,000 Cartier bracelet. This seemed to placate the prince, and they proceeded to their meal. Jeffrey glanced over at Khalid and noticed he was eating a lot.
See, this is exactly what it is we have a guy who thinks that he's gonna get $440 million for a hotel that's not doing very well, and he wants that money so much that despite the fact that he did a background check on this person and several red flags were popped up, his greed is so vast that it blinds him, and he's hoping for an easy out of his situation of having to sell the hotel, you know. And then we have the prince here, quote unquote, the prince here, who is like, yeah, just give me a thing that's like probably small cash for you, 50K or something, and I'll be placated and I will let you continue living in that fantasy of, like, you know, maybe you'll get that 400 million, you know, it's probably maybe there. And because these are quote-unquote gifts that are given to him, I don't know the legal sort of ramifications of that. Like, can they ask to get those gifts back, right?
Large portion of prosciutto. Alarm bells immediately started ringing, as pork is a forbidden meat in the Islamic faith.
Uh-oh.
Back in Miami, Jeffrey and his team started digging deeper into the prince. They enlisted the help of a private investigator who produced a long report of the fake prince's 30-year scam. Anthony Gignac had been arrested or convicted 11 times in his life, and it was concluded that he may have really started to believe he was a prince. His goal was to get close with the Soffer family, so he could tell potential investors that he was close with the Soffer family. He had no intention of ever purchasing the Fontainebleau Hotel. This report was then handed over to the FBI and the Diplomatic Security Service, or DSS.
I hope the investigator got a good paycheck for that. They deserved it, for being the first person who realized that there's something fucked up here.
Was assigned to the case. Anthony and Carl had been traveling around Dubai, Hong Kong, and London to meet up with more potential investors. They were now offering opportunities to invest in a non-existent casino and pharmaceutical company. Anthony was of course flying with someone else's passport. DSS agents were waiting for him when they landed at JFK International Airport on the 19th of November 2017. Anthony was placed under arrest and his false passport and belongings were all seized. He protested in the middle of the airport, screaming that he had diplomatic status. When that didn't work, he tried a different tactic. "I have national security information you'd be interested in hearing," he offered. Carl Williamson's North Carolina home was raided on the 14th of December 2017. Federal agents interrogated him for 6 hours, but he insisted that he didn't know the prince was a fake. That same night, Carl tried to hang himself. He died 2 days later from the injuries.
Ugh.
In May 2018, Anthony Gignac pleaded guilty to impersonating a foreign diplomat, aggravated identity theft, and conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Investigators discovered dozens of forged documents from over the years that supported Anthony's claims of being a Saudi prince. Federal agents seized $450,000 worth of jewelry, along with $80,000 in cash and various pieces of expensive artwork. However, it was discovered that some of Anthony's watches and jewelry were fake, and much of his bling were actually cheap glued-on diamonds. His cars and yachts were all rentals. His Fisher Island penthouse only had a few pieces of store-bought furniture inside, even though he hired an interior designer who had royal clientele. Anthony was sentenced to 18 years in prison. He finally owned up in front of the judge. Quote, "The entire blame of this entire operation is on me, and I accept that." He is currently serving his sentence at the Federal Detention Center in Miami. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to support this channel even more, we've just launched a...
You're right. Expensive artwork is very, like, you know, the effort that you put into a work of art doesn't necessarily correlate with the value of it, unfortunately.
Patreon. The link is in the description if you'd like to help us.
That was an interesting video. How the fuck did they not catch him earlier? 30 years. He was able to do this horse shit for 30 years. What the fuck? Bro, what the fuck? God damn. What the fuck? Bro, what the what? Okay, let's see. Zoltan has sent some craziest natural phenomena caught on camera. Resident Evil 4 remake is awful, but I fixed it. Is this like some hour-long playthrough or something?
What's up, pimp?
Oh, no. Okay. Okay, it's just that. Oh, it's just the edgelord. Okay, cool. Well, let's see if these are any good. Hashtag game. What the fuck is it? Gaming. Oh, love Joe Biden. The Joe Biden dating simulator. God damn. Fuck. It's like the fucking KFC dating sim. Shit. Well, it's very easy to make dating sims. So, you know, even the weirdest shit is a thing, I guess. Features ice cream, romanceable Joe Biden, gilfs, big wolf men. Yeah. You know, all the important things. Craziest natural phenomenon recorded on camera.
Earth is filled with wonderful and bizarre occurrences that we're often left unable to explain.
Oh yeah, forest fires are definitely something that we are left unable to explain. It's definitely not because of a gender reveal party.
With so many of these events being very rare, we are often left without any ability to experience these natural events. From the starling flocks phenomena to Pele's hair, here are 15 craziest natural phenomena.
This is like Watch
recorded
Mojo. This is exactly the kind of horseshit content that these days are for, I guess. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's what it is, yes.
on camera.
I bet this was done on Fiverr, this intro.
Number 15. Starling flocks phenomena. On its own, a starling doesn't cause a lot of problems. It's a bird the size of a tennis ball with feathers that have a dark, velvety hue. In any case, the starling creates...
He's building it up as if it's like some kind of like a threat. Like this pillar of burb is a threat. It's obvious, like there's a predatory bird right there. You can see the big dot right there, and the swarm is just used to fend it off or confuse it.
Stunning designs in an unusually marvelous fashion, as starlings gather in flocks numbering into the hundreds of thousands over open fields to produce an effect that makes it look like art from another dimension. Converging around each other, guided by the wind and instinct, the dark forms in flight are an expression of reality that appears to be inspired by an attraction to entropy.
No, I don't think honestly, I don't think the starlings are attracted to the concept of entropy. I think they're just birds. To be fair, I think they're just birds. Let's not get too hyped over this shit. Everyone clapped her ass. God damn. You know, I was thinking of making so next week, since it's Pride Month, right? We're gonna draw some chicks with dicks. Starting next Saturday. I guess we have to draw Mae-mae's ass cheeks now. That Bear seems to be very interested in. No, I don't want to draw porn about myself. God, it's so fucking cringe. No, I'm not gonna do that. Fuck that.
The question that doesn't have an obvious answer is why. The aerial patterns of birds are constantly moving, giving each bird an ideal view of their surroundings. Birds, including starlings themselves, frequently group into large flocks to defend themselves from birds of prey. The more numbers in a flock, the less likely each bird would be caught by wild.
What if you get commissioned to do that? They'll have to pay a little bit extra. There is a price for everything, and there is a price for Mae-mae horny art as well. But it will come with there's something about like specific, because in that case I would be kind of drawing it for someone else, right? It makes it a little bit more okay. But when I draw myself, quote unquote, trying to be sexy, it feels so incredibly narcissistic that nah, fuck that. There's only one character Mae-mae can be shipped with. Yes, and it's another Mae-mae. The mitosis must happen. but yeah, I don't know if that makes any sense. I don't know if that makes any sense. That like it's uncomfortable for me. I don't mind it at all if other people do horny art of myself, or even if someone commissions me to draw horny art of myself for them. But doing horny art of myself, or kind of like myself, is like so insanely self-centered that it just feels so weird. Hello, Taimo. We're watching like BuzzFeed tier shit and discussing the drawing of Mae-mae's ass. So various interesting topics are being discussed today. Welcome.
Wild predators. Yet starling flocks also fly in such formations when there are no predators near them. That doesn't explain the full story and leaves many questions. Do you know why the starling flock phenomena occurs? Before we go on, like this video, smash
it's like,
the
obviously, it probably just, you know, have you guys ever heard of this scientific theory called Occam's razor? Which is generally, if there's a simplistic explanation for something, that's usually it. And the simplistic explanation here is that if there's a massive flock of bird it's probably much more easy for them to fly around in the way that they're used to from, you know, evolving to distract their enemies by flying in these formations. So obviously when they fly around normally as well, they're going to travel in the same kind of flocks, because why would they expend extra energy into learning two different ways of flying when the one method that they are used to works very well, right? Would just be doing the turning around and pretending you're kissing someone by hugging yourself. Exactly.
Subscribe button and click the notification bell right now, or this centipede will crawl on your face when you're sleeping.
God, I hate this kind of horse shit. It's like
Number 14.
meant for like 5-year-olds.
Pele's hair. Sometimes life is a bit too hot to handle, yet when things cool down and you start getting a grip on things, what's left can be quite wonderful to behold. This leads us to the term Pele's hair, which is essentially a form of fiber that is cooled down to a kind of molten glass that forms out of the lava, and because of the speed at which the lava lengthens. It's kind of like canned spaghetti, except thinner, with less sauce and a little firmer. Because of this, the lava cools in small, thin threads.
Skil af sér. Kannski þetta eitt af furðulegasta.
Pele's hair fibers can be several meters long and just a fraction of a millimeter in diameter.
That's actually kind of interesting. I've never heard of this shit before. This Pele's hair or whatever it is.
Fibers are then transported away by the breeze. They can be taken away a few kilometers from the vents. Where the wind blows, the Pele's hair will follow. Will you be there to catch it? The next time you think of heating up your spaghetti in a microwave, take a moment to contemplate the memory of.
It's kind of greenish.
Hair.
I wonder what
finished blowing in the wind,
the chemical
rest in peace, or pieces.
is that it's made out of.
Number 13. Eternal Flame Fall.
Kind of like canned spaghetti. What a shitty analogy. You know, these people are probably like, it's not like the narrator here is probably actually paid by the channel. It's just someone on Fiverr that like this channel that is probably produced in who knows where, pays like minimum wage to do this shit. And the script for this is probably written by AI because the original owners of the channel don't speak English. That's how these channels usually are.
Falls. There's a little waterfall called the Everlasting Flame Falls. Whether the falls will be everlasting or not is a questionable statement.
Is there like
It
a
sounds
gas
like a
leak there?
meditative space with sacred meaning. The Eternal Flame Falls Valley is an iconic and unusual waterfall that is potentially quite a dangerous environment. The waterfall is named because of a simple phenomenon, a natural gas spill right below the waterfall which just happens to ignite. The flame is not necessarily eternal in the way that it often goes out. It's also relit by passengers because while the gas is natural, the flames being ignited are affected by the passersby. The falls emit natural gas which has the smell of rotten eggs.
Oh, delightful.
A wonderful aroma that sets the tone. The gas is produced during the decomposition of the organics within the rock.
I wonder why they're like marveling at this when there's that like, it's like, I don't remember what it's called, but it's like the called like the entrance to hell or something like that, where there's like a big cave that's just fire because there's like a gas vein like underneath it and it's like constantly on fire. I wonder why we're marveling at this fucking little torchlight here. Is it because there's water near it? Is that why it's so special? Because everyone learned from Pokemon that fire type is weak to water.
And push out through cracks and loose layers within the rock. It's unbelievable that the pressure of the gas outlet over time doesn't cause the rock to burst. A place where water and fire meet. Isn't it fascinating that something like this is even possible?
No.
Number 12.
No, it's not actually.
Desert Rose Selenite. Meaning and properties. Gypsum rose. Imagine a rose as a gift given to someone special made completely out of sand. That's the desert rose selenite, shaped.
I remember, so when I was young, I loved to collect a bunch of stones, and I always remember seeing this garbage in like the Crystal Sister stores. And what a fucking ugly thing. Like, why would you ever want this when like even amethyst is prettier than this horseshit? Oh yeah. I was just making a joke about it. Of course she does. Of course she does. Very good.
By water, wind, and sand that develops over a few hundred years. The wind will continuously blow on the selenite that embeds the sand in the blades. With time, the water tends to create a rose-like shape. Some cultures say that the desert rose invokes the properties of mental insight, energy cleansing, and inner reality.
They're like fucking little Brussels sprouts that are made of stone.
Rose helps to rid the mind of old thought processes and opening up the flow of guidance.
I bet it's because it kind of looks like a brain.
From your intuition.
Yep.
It would be interesting to know what a chemist would say about the organic structure of the desert rose and how it affects humans. My guess, if some like...
What the fuck do you mean, you stupid piece of shit? It would be interesting to find out what a chemist would say about the structure of these stones and their effect on humans. What do you mean? It's fucking stone. What do you mean its effect on humans? It doesn't matter if you shred diamonds or if you shred basic fucking gravel and eat it. It's not gonna have any fucking effect. There's no magic in rocks. Fuck. Shit.
Like this makes a difference, it has something to do with electrons and positive and negative electric charges.
No, it doesn't. Fuck. What the fuck? No. Do people act? Yes, they do. Yes, they do believe in this shit. Yeah. They do absolutely believe in this shit. Fuck.
Also, the thoughts behind how a desert rose came to be and what it does for the mind and body.
It doesn't do anything. It's a fucking rock. You stupid piece of shit.
That it is a beautiful natural art, an incredible thing to be able to see with our own eyes and a testament to the beauty in life. Number 11. Bioluminescent waves.
It's ghost cum. Everyone knows it's ghost cum. Come on.
Bioluminescent wonder is absolutely stunning in its beauty. The ocean can shine like the stars.
It's like a species of algae, I think. I think I've heard about this. Or like not necessarily algae, but like a bacteria that is bioluminescent, I think, or something like that.
In the sky, thanks to a natural chemical process known as bioluminescence.
Yeah, exactly, yes, exactly. It'd be interesting, as if this is like some new discovery. Like, fuck.
Which allows living things to produce light in their bodies. With the generation and release of light from a living organism, it's kind of an organic cocktail with the combination of colors creating an illuminating and brilliant result.
It is pretty as fuck. That is cool as hell. But it's probably not good for you.
Will glow when disturbed by a wave breaking or a splash in the water at night. I reckon out of all the incredible and unique things related to the ocean, visually, this is definitely at the top for the human eye.
That is cool as hell.
Creatures, either to confuse predators with disarray or to attract prey with illusion or even to attract potential mates with this inviting phenomenon. Using the manipulation of light to survive in the wilderness. Isn't it incredible how natural creatures even utilize organic light manipulation processes to survive? Could you imagine a gigantic glowing wave rising above the sky with marine creatures swimming and lighting up the night? How?
This is definitely written by an AI.
Incredibly poetic. Number 10. Penitente's spiky snow formation in the Andes.
Okay.
Some of the coolest things in the world are not usually experienced by the human eye. Interestingly, the phenomenon called penitentes is formed at very high altitude glaciers, where the air is dry and the blanket of protection that covers the ground level from the ruthless heat of the sun, snow will develop into impressive thin ice blades up in the freezing cold icy mountaintops, growing up to a few meters tall.
The giant penitentes. Amazing, amazing view.
A pretty cool natural event, wouldn't you say? One could even say that it's sort
Pretty
of like
cool,
a
'cause,
forest in
you
the
know,
mountains with
it's made of
huge
ice.
frozen water trees, kind of like an elegant crystallized pine tree. Ugh, all this ice talk freezes the socks off. They take the form of tall, thin blades of frozen snow or ice, closely spaced with blades pointed towards the general direction of light. These pinnacles of snow or ice are rising at incredibly high altitudes in the glacial and snow-covered regions. Blue hues on a golden sunset, the tops of the mountains like a spear striking fiercely into the sky. When night falls on this icy,
Poetic.
spiky battlefield, the conflict rages between the elements.
God damn.
Number 9.
Whoever writes
Fire
this
Worlds.
is like
There aren't
getting
many
way too
things
hyped
as relaxing as staring into a fire on a nice
about their narrative in a top 10 video.
cool evening contemplating life. However, another fascinating option.
No,
for
I'm pretty sure
fireworks
these
out
leave you contemplating death. Because you don't want to get hit by one of these.
there are fire whirls. They present a strong intensification of combustion, usually during large urban and wildfires. However, they are obscured with many features. A mixture of wind and fuel to produce something like a sandstorm, but with fire and smoke. A scorching
What the
heat.
fuck do you mean sandstorm, you stupid motherfucker? It's a fucking tornado. Why would you compare it to a sandstorm when it's clearly a fucking tornado, a twister? Well, why was the sand... There's no way whoever wrote this actually watched the video.
That looks pretty awesome, but is vicious. They are not understood well, with most understanding coming from a laboratory, as they're very dangerous.
What do you mean they're not understood well? I'm pretty... Okay. Let's see if there's a Wikipedia article that agrees with this statement. They're not understood very well. I don't think I agree with that. There's... A whirl of fire consists of a burning core and a rotating pocket of air. A fire whirl can reach up to 2000 Fahrenheit or 1090 Celsius. Fire whirls become frequent when a wildfire, or especially a firestorm, creates its own wind, which can spawn large vorticles. Even bonfires often have whirls on a smaller scale, and tiny fire whirls have been generated by very small fires in laboratories. Most of the largest fire whirls are spawned from wildfires. They form when a warm updraft and convergence from the wildfire are present. It's basically the exact fucking same principle that tornadoes form with. It's two different heats of air colliding rapidly, and it starts creating a fucking twister. What the fuck do you mean they're not understood very well? You can just fucking Google it and understand exactly how it fucking works. Shit! It's not fucking magic. It's fucking Twister. Shit. What a fucking stupid fucking video.
The force and temperature of the flames. Also, the destructive powers of the momentum that acts like a wind funnel. The best guess at understanding this epic reaction is really a combination of just about everything you would expect. Between heat and wind, geometry, and gravity. The natural reaction of high wind.
Oh, gravity has something to do with it too? Oh shit, that was very surprising, because there's a lot of things in the world that in our planet that are, you know, not affected by gravity, right? God fucking damn it.
And a large large fuel source pushing the flames to desolate the surrounding area. The end product is still a mysterious whirlwind that carries with it the fury
Mysterious
of nature's
whirlwind.
wrath,
Mhm.
with aesthetics that make the jaw drop because it's not something you see every day, perhaps even in an entire lifetime.
Like, honestly, you probably wouldn't want to see one of these. They're a sign that there is a fucking forest fire going. That's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. I don't know if this is a surprise to some people, but that's not a good thing.
Number 8. Snow
We're only at number 8. Fuck.
rollers. It looks like snow rolls itself into big donut-shaped snowballs.
Oh,
But instead
shit.
of going to a bakery,
I
you're
bet
going
it
to
was Bigfoot who made these. I bet it was Bigfoot.
a frozen field of icy fascination. This elegant natural art showcases a wonderful display. As if not from this planet, the grace and sophistication of the mesmerizing funnel, the swelling mix of ice and snow.
What do you mean, as if not from this planet? Have you never seen, like, what? Just because it's donut shaped, it looks like it's not from this planet? Is that what this is? Are donuts like somehow like fucking hyperspatial? Are they from a different dimension? Is that what this is?
Spirals in such an
Are we eating science when we eat donuts? Is that what this is?
nice manner. It's a phenomenon that exists only in optimal circumstances. Kind of like frying an egg. If you leave it too long, it'll burn. But if you turn it at the right time, it'll have the right texture. And if you don't heat it for long enough, it just won't harden.
What did that have to do with
Perfect
anything?
Conditions for a snow roller to be able to shape requires a light snow dust that's moist enough to stick to the ground, but loose enough so it doesn't adhere. Wind speeds must be high enough to force the snow down the ice so that it coils up into a signature snow roller style. Looking like a wave-breaking...
I guess this wasn't mysterious enough to be just unexplainable, right? I guess it's so fucking obvious what's happening here that even a complete dumbass would figure it out.
overhead, about to trap the unconscious surfer frozen. The shape is really something exquisite that nature has been able to produce. It's a wonder that there aren't any ice creams designed with this in mind.
What the fuck do you mean? Why would anyone want an ice cream with that design in mind? That's just less ice cream. What the fuck? God damn.
Number 7. Morocco's tree climbing goats. Why is it that if you see something unusual going on, it's usually a goat in the center of the thick of it? This is what seems to be going on here, as the goat climbed up to get a bird's eye view of the nearby landscape.
They're
I
clearly...
can't tell you why it seems to have captivated
They're
the
fucking eating the leaves of the tree. That couldn't possibly be it, right?
attention of the surrounding audience. In a place called Marrakesh on the heated, dusty roads, a type of tree called the argan pepper exists. It's rust-colored, eschewing a landscape that harbors many unusual things, including the strangest tree-climbing mammals, not letting any hooves get in the way. Argan trees grow a fruit that is reminiscent of a crushed olive. It ripens around June every year. The crafty, ingenious goats, hungry for the bitter taste and scent, will climb the argan tree at a chance for them. They have gnarled, thorny branches, and although they may not be pretty, they draw a lot of attention from fans, including herds of starving goats that are in their crooked roots, often more than a dozen in a single tree. Number 6. Dust Storm. During high gale winds, the wind's vicious energy moves over loosely hitting particles with enough force to counter the gravity keeping them down. This increases the sand particles' movements. They tend to...
Motherfucker is explaining what dust is. Why is he explaining to us what the fuck dust is? Who is this video made for? What? Excuse me? He's literally just explaining step by step what dust is. It's you know, things that are kind of, you know, light and small. So they aren't bound by the rule, the infinite, the iron rule of gravity, our infinite enemy. I bet he's a flat earther. I bet he doesn't want to believe in gravity. That's why this whole thing about gravity is so provident here. Prominent. No, it wasn't. No. It definitely wasn't. There's 10 million views on this. It's not because people are triggered by this. It's because there are people who unironically consume content like this.
Vibrate at first, then later travel over the surface. With a loosening roar and rocking force, they repeatedly touch the ground, loosening up and breaking down all the tiny dust particles.
Also, the English is actually kind of bad. Didn't he just say it's loosening up all of that dust particles? This is definitely some like AI made Google translated shit.
And continue to travel in suspension. At wind rates above what allows the smallest to be suspended, there would be a population of dust grains going. Sand and dust storms typically arise as strong winds with a building momentum, lifting vast quantities of sand and dust from bare, dry surfaces to the atmosphere that would otherwise be stagnant. Over the past decade, awareness is rising at the effects that humanity has had on the quantity and impact that we have on causing these destructive events.
What the fuck was that? Yeah, these sentences are definitely like they're not made by someone who's natively speaking English. There's no way. ChatGPT, write me a script for top 15. Yes.
To occur. There's only so much you can do to combat the raw power of one of the Earth's natural elemental monsters, the dust storm. What would you do if you were stuck in the middle of a dust storm? Number 5. Blue holes. Many hypotheses have emerged throughout the years on the nature and purpose of these deep, dark blue holes.
I was about to make a Mae-mae's hole joke, but let's not go there.
The mystery is almost as awesome as the outcome. The explanation for this is that they are very difficult to quantify and measure using current, ordinary intellectual resources. An interesting point, the debate is out whether they should be a protected area since they have allowed marine life to flourish. Being sheltered away from the open ocean, they foster a huge array of organic, habitual sea life. One of the coolest things about them, aside from the rich and flourishing abundance of life, is that when you look directly down on a blue hole, there is a color discrepancy between the rest of the ocean and the circular blue hole, which leads deep into the sea floor. Can you imagine what it would be like to be that deep underwater in a swimsuit?
Yeah, actually I can, because I think it was on stream when we watched that video about that one guy drowning at the bottom of one of these fucking things.
You wouldn't be able to see anything, and everything would want to eat you. No thanks, I'm good. Perhaps let the sea be the sea, and I'll be focusing on seeing things with my own...
Yeah, it's a fucking horrifying video, Bear. Don't look it up if you don't want to see, like a super grim, like, terrifying video. Holy shit, it was a bad time. Like, he was diving into one of these, or something like this, and I think he descended too fast, and the oxygen in his blood started, because of the pressure, the oxygen in his blood started turning to carbon dioxide or something like that, and it basically put him into a state of like delirium, like kind of like he was drunk, and he couldn't sort of figure out how to get up anymore, and like he just stares at like this watch on his wrist that shows like the depth, and like just kind of, you know, gets like game ended, I guess. It's very sinister in like a very, because like it's like an actual death recorded on camera, and it's very, very sort of eerie, haunting, I guess would be the... Yeah, the sea is kind of fucking scary, isn't it? It's very interesting, but it's also very, very fearsome.
Eyes on dry land. What do you think? Are you game for a dive in a deep blue hole?
No, don't go there.
Number 4. Bioluminescent forest. Mysterious things always seem to happen at night while we are asleep, unlike the horrors that we hear of in other scenarios, however.
Yeah, like your neighbor like masturbating wildly or something like that. Mysterious things, you know, the fairies of the forest and stuff like that.
This wonderful and resonating environment comes to life. The jungles of the Maharashtra Bhim-Shankar Wildlife Reserve are approximately 100 kilometers east of Mumbai. When every step leaves you with another dose of anxiety, all those insects can sense your fear, and the big predators lay in wait, hoping to snatch you up and digest you. Why would anybody enter this fearsome jungle? The monsoon season allows the leeches, the slippery slopes, and the rain to thrive. It's the best time of year for the bioluminescent forest to come to life. Incessant downpour brought the bleak and rugged terrain to life in a bright hue of green. New grass coated almost every inch of the typically dark scenery. And yet, in the midst of this hidden vast conclave is a secret. When the night comes along, the lights turn on, and the beauty of this mysterious and incredible jungle comes to life with vivid and stunning echoing acoustics. Would you take on the wonder of a forest that is alive with color akin to a paradise hidden in the depths if it included potential health risks that could paralyze you or worse?
Yeah, just for the record, all of this is fake. They don't actually glow like that. That's not how bioluminescence works. Not a fucking disco. There might be some bioluminescent mushrooms or something in there, but this is fucking fake. There's no. So
and yet in the
this shit, nah, there's no way this is real. You can see like Dress Court International Film Festival.
Midst of this hidden vast conclave,
Probably not real.
When the night comes along, the lights turn.
Probably not real. Something. But let's see. The funny thing is that, like, I don't. Did he specify what it was? What forest is it? Let's see.
Shankar Wildlife Reserve to life. The jungles of the Maharashtra Bhim-Shankar
I don't know how to write that. Future technology. India's mysterious glowing forests. This would probably be... Oh, best bioluminescent. Okay, National Geographic is pretty... is a pretty trustworthy. So those are like what fireflies, I think. That's underground. That's yeah. This is bugs again. The whoa! Ghost cum. Oh, it's plankton. Glowing plankton. Okay, cool. Glowworms in Australia. It wasn't even mentioned. The coolest forest in the world wasn't even mentioned on this list. Maybe it's this one. Eerie glow. Okay, so there's this green shit on it. But it's not like it's going like from the bottom to the top. It's just constantly glowing because there's some kind of mycena. Yeah. I'm guessing it's fireflies, glowworms, and fungi. Yeah, that makes sense. And it's always green. It's not actually blue and red and fucking every color. No. No. Just no. No. Don't believe in this horse shit.
Would be frequencies that the human ear would find uncomfortable in a certain area.
Wait, what?
3. Taos Hum. In the dry, dusty, quiet town of Taos, a relaxed arts community located in the north-central region of New Mexico, is apparently an odd mystery, a resident hum of uncertain origin, the so-called Taos Hum. Critics of this claim will say that humans live in a continuous sea of background noise, so it's not really a surprise that there would be frequencies that the human ear would find uncomfortable in a certain area. Also, low frequencies travel further, so it would be expected that some sensitive ears would be able to hear a faint low frequency note. Secondly, there are hundreds of possible sources of noise, including traffic, ships, aircraft, insects, massive machinery, wind, freight trains, mines, and other industries.
It's that sort of a sound.
Superstitious protagonists would argue that although many people can believe that it should be easy to find the
Superstitious protagonists? Why was the word protagonist used there?
source of the sound, it may be very difficult in reality. A really vast combination of ideas has been offered as the reason, ranging from the mundane to the
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like, yeah, they're not pulsating fucking random lights everywhere. It's fake news. That doesn't exist.
fantastic, the disjointed, psychological, to the creepy paranormal. Every story you can imagine under the sun has been thought of.
It's like a fucking, like, imagine, like it's like the entire village is like the Five Nights at Freddy's fandom, where it's like every goddamn little detail in the game is some kind of clue to what the purple guy is up to next. So like they're trying to find some kind of profound reasoning or profound context in things that are completely mundane. Is like, fuck.
Up to as to why
Don't word it like that.
claim
Yes.
to experience these noises. Number 2, Mae-mae clouds. The name Mae-mae is quite fascinating. Could be worth looking up the origin of the name. The
It's a fucking
brilliance of
Supercell,
this
isn't it?
bizarre pattern is not something that the average human can comprehend entirely.
What do you
Mae-mae
mean? Fucking supercell cloud formation.
Clouds are clouds
Just fucking Google it. Anyone can understand.
that form a very strange pattern, quite like bubble wrap. Depending on the color of the backdrop, the view will change in appearance, and often is very stunning. Although it can seem quite frightening in the right conditions, as if the sky was falling on your head.
Oh yeah, that's what it is.
To form pockets of sinking air. Protruding from an overhanging wave of clouds, they usually come with a thunderstorm as company. Being cold, most of these clouds are made of ice. Consider wearing a hard helmet just in case. Each Mae-mae cloud has the ability to last for up to 10 to 15 minutes and can reach very long lengths. People equate them with extreme weather. They're interesting in part.
Yeah,
because
they usually appear around like along supercells when a big storm is coming.
are created by sinking weather. Although there's a large amount of unnecessary superstition attached to them, Mae-mae clouds can look ominous and foreboding, so it's easy to see why people get worked up about them. Yet
No, don't go
brilliance,
finding meat
normal
pockets in
nature,
Mae-mae's
and
hole.
dangerous
Fucking hell.
presence goes hand in hand with majestic elegance. Number 1. Monarch Butterfly Migration. The beautiful and radiant monarch, reflecting the warmth of the sun and the beauty of reality. These
Wait, what? God, this narration is so fucking hyperbolic.
true wonders of nature illuminate the setting in which they find themselves. After an upbringing, the monarch is finally ready to spread its wings and fly on a journey to a distant land which is up to 2,000
That is fucking
miles
terrifying. Holy shit.
Great distance is a mystery.
The only butterfly known to do a two-way type of migration similar to the migration of long-distance traveling birds. Unable to survive freezing temperatures like other butterflies, the monarch butterflies have the ability to sense that the air is getting too cold for
I'm
them.
pretty sure a lot of butterflies can't handle freezing cold either. I'm pretty sure that's not just a monarch butterfly weakness, is that they're weak to ice type attacks. I'm pretty sure there are other butterflies as well, especially considering the average lifespan of a butterfly is like 5 days until they die. So they don't ever experience a cold season.
Them through environmental sensory hints, and so they prepare for their long voyage of safety.
Environmental sensory hints, as in the temperature is down.
Security. The great risk is that they are very sensitive to the temperature, and so any sharp change can cause them to literally die. They are very fragile and wonderful insects for the human being to experience. Have you ever seen the monarch butterfly migration in your life? Was it incredible to witness? What did you think of our 15 craziest natural phenomena recorded on camera? Have you been able to...
Let's see, any comments? Yeah, see? These comments are completely unironic. These comments are completely unironic. Nobody's questioning that the whole narrative of the video is complete horseshit. These are real people out here. So, you know, we even have Nihongo right here. It's God bless America. Very good. Okay. Let's cleanse our palette with Edgelord McGee here and see what kind of things he did to Resident Evil Remake, because it was awful, so he fixed it.
Here we are at the scene of the crime where Resident Evil 4 has been ruined by the global elites, allegedly. And Big Brother, you know, the man, the communists will tell you, oh, this game is a masterpiece and the gameplay is very great. Brainwashed. All of them. Next week they'll be telling us all that God of War 2018 is the greatest movie of all time. Fuck, so time for a little bit of the Fleek Fixes, an original idea from yours truly. Off the bat, Ashley's character design has been ruined. Not from the original, it's actually better than the original. Call Capcom the military-industrial complex because they just dumped a whole lot of budget into ballistics. You feel me, pimp? But the matter of the fact is, it's 2023. She can't have massive budgets and a waist. It just isn't haram. So bam, I fixed it. Fat Ashley. She is now her happy weight. Hey, trust me.
Oh no, Leon! You're not ready for this.
And don't get it twisted. She may be a little plump, but she can schmooze. She's limber. She's bendy. She's a powerful queen now, and I've been assured by Twitter that she should slay. Number 2, Leon has gone full sneako, full cuck. I'm sorry to say it, but I said it because I say things. Now instead of
no thanks, bro,
he says,
yeah, fat chance, Ramon.
And instead of
sorry, but following a lady's lead just isn't my style.
He says,
well, after 6 years, that is one hell of a greeting.
Why did you have to ruin something so pure, Capcom? So now how do we fix this? Real
Can you make the video a bit is this a joke? Do you actually want it to be louder? God damn.
Swapped out his character model for Raiden from hit game Metal Gear. Then we crank up that MGR soundtrack. Nothing to fix the issue, but it is pretty neat. Moving on, number 2. The Chainsaw Man used to be way more intimidating. I used to see him and it would make my knees quiver with fear. And I'm a big...
Oh, actually, let me see if I can do it like this.
Strong boy, I don't scare easily. But listen, if we put them side by side, we can see exactly why the original design was much more intimidating. And that was because of the more
Can you guys hear it?
Shaped body type. You can see that a massive gut is being held in by the overalls, and that girth was the source of his overall scariness. Now with the new one, all the scariness is gone. This guy is rail thin. He's probably hiding a ponytail and some kombucha under that bag. My solution?
Very good.
It's a very simple one. You'll notice Shrek has a much more manly, much more intimidating figure. Now with all that girth and this expressionless stare, I shit myself every time he sneaks up and takes me from behind. God damn it, my leg! Alright, number 3. The merchant feels, he feels more British than in the original. Too British, if you ask me. And you know how I feel about those people. No solution here, just unfortunate. Okay, number 2. Ada is a real stomp on your nuts, monotone girl boss. Now,
maybe you'll live to meet me again, and then I might get you that greeting you were looking for.
Before in the original, she sounded much more seductive, much more friendly, but she was still very capable, despite also being dripped to the gills. Now in this one, she almost has the tone and cadence of Jesus. I waited the whole campaign for her to walk in and go, "What's up, pussy farts? Let's get this shit." Honestly, I think we could fix this by, I don't know, maybe she could smile more. Number 4. Now, what was I just saying about the Brits? Oh, right. El Gigante's character model isn't even scary in the slightest. slightest anymore. I've seen this character model hanging out at pubs in the old stabby-wabby kingdom. He just looks like a right mank that lost his knickers at a game of football. But now, for our solution, think of the most menacing animals in the animal kingdom. Cheetahs, tigers, lions, rhinos, grizzly bears, all very bitch-made animals in comparison to the heart attack-inducing, lethal killer man animal, tear a man to shreds in 2 seconds thug, the panda bear. Doesn't get much more lethal than the panda bear. Number 6. The ballistics are there, but the ballistics line is gone, dead, and with it, so is this game's soul. Fix? There is none, brother. There is none. Number 6.
The funny thing about the extra thok version of Ashley is that it was made completely unironically. You can like just see from the love and attention that it was given that it was made completely unironically.
This lake monster ain't shit. But you know what's scarier than old Dolphin Tail over here? The Pokemon Kyogre, straight out of John Lovecraftian's picture books. Number 7. Mercenaries mode is undoubtedly fantastic because the gameplay in this remake is pretty phenomenal, I'm not gonna lie. I've been lying for my entire life up until this point, but now I'm leaving that life behind. I'm gonna tell the truth. I've thoroughly enjoyed my time playing catch with local Spaniards before their afternoon siestas and margaritas, and I've shot so many dogs that I just got a job offer from the ATF in my inbox. However, Ada and Wesker ain't here on launch. This is blasphemy. Solution, go to a mod site and, hang on. No, that's Leon's dick. So is that one, and that one, and that one, and that. No, all right, here we go. Playable Ada. You're welcome. Number 8. Leon is ugly, but you know who isn't? My man, Len. Len is the man. Lene is a regular Greek Adonis. My man, Len, is a real Shit, my leg! And I guess to fulfill my legal obligations to all of you, my score for this game, 9 out of 10. Buy it.
It was a pretty good game. It was a pretty good game. I will admit. Send this to someone when you beat them in a fighting game. Oh no, that's in gaming. Submit funny. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, that was. I'm a thick mod connoisseur. I think you're a thick. You're not Yeah. Thok is right. You're definitely a thok connoisseur, not just mod, but just in general. I think I might have had Shrek as like the tank in Left 4 Dead 2. He would ram you into a wall. Yeah, Shrek is very popular as a modding target for these. He is a popular replacement for Mr. X in Resi 2 remake as well. I've seen very, very many. And also for Nemesis in Resi 3, which we still actually need to beat, I guess. We haven't done that in a while. Or Resident Evils in a while again. It's been a little bit since 4. And 3 is still unbeaten. So maybe we need to do that at some point in the future. But right now my hands are very busy with a bunch of different games and stuff that I have to take care of. Next week, if we're still gonna do Forest, we have that. And I don't know really how popular Forest is. But Monster Hunter I definitely want to play. And then there's fucking drawing dicks, which we're gonna do starting next week. And obviously I'm not gonna finish something in a single stream, so we're gonna sort of take our time with the artwork. So yeah. The only good RE mod is the Chris and Baby head swap for RE8. Holy shit, Ninja is garbage at low levels. I get my first AoE attack at 38. Yeah, it's kind of like that. Wait. Don't you have ninjutsu unlocked earlier than that? Yeah, as soon as you get ninjutsu, you have what's it called? the fire thing. Katon. You have Katon at least. So you can do at least some mobbing damage. I mean, yeah, it's not the rotational thing, but Katon, I'm pretty sure Katon is an AoE attack. I don't think you can do Doton yet, because that requires the chi symbol, but I think you can do Katon. On Rogue, at least, it shows... No, as soon as you unlock Ninja, you get the fingers, the magic fingers, and one of those combinations is an AoE attack. But yeah, drawing dicks up, yes, because it's Pride Month. It's Pride Month, so I figured that it would be appropriate to draw some penises on women. So probably like Miyuki is what we're gonna be drawing. Oh, does it only give you Fuma? Yeah, I think it does give you only Fuma Shuriken. That's actually true, yeah. I don't remember when you get Katon, but yeah. But yeah, it is kind of it's kind of funny on low level shit, I suppose. But yeah. Let's see. There was something else here. More of this edgelord. Do you guys want to see more of the edgelord?
The Saints Row
but yeah. At 18, yeah. I mean, yeah. Tanks get them very early, but a tank without an AoE would be kind of, you know, garbage. Down for a bit. Very good. Okay.
Reboot is an abomination. This game makes Ubisoft look competent. I hear people keep saying that this game feels like it's from the late 2000s, but truth be told, that's insulting to games from the late 2000s because Saints Row 2 is
I've never actually played Saints Row, but to my understanding, it's like GTA, but you're like a superhero or something like that, I think.
1,000 times the game this is. Even Saints Row 4 is about 250 times the game this is. There are so many things wrong with this game that I couldn't possibly address all of them in this video because this game won't be relevant in about another week. So I guess we'll start with the combat. Volition decided to take the if it ain't broke, break it approach with this one. This game said fun? No, not on our watch. So they remove meat shields, increase HP, block many fun mechanics behind grindy progression that takes far longer than the 6-hour story to unlock, and then force you to choose which 5 basic mechanics you want active at any time. And as a further measure to combat fun, they lock takedowns to a meter so that you can't do them whenever you want. And on top of all that, this AI is so incompetent, so afraid of ever actually challenging the player or doing anything that would make them feel remotely alive that it makes the insane AI from Saints Row 2 look like HAL 9000. Now let's talk about driving. What a hoot. Physics? More like fuck it, because that's what the developers said when they were programming this trash.
Oh,
Motorcycles can send trucks flying, cars explode and send parts shooting into space, cars can do front flips, and oh, you actually want weight to your cars? What are you, a bigot? Are you body shaming? Even waffles don't apply the laws of physics, and it's only made worse because of how many crutches they gave the artificial imbeciles. Does the AI keep crashing while pursuing you? Well, the developers will just despawn, respawn, teleport, and enter them into a 10th gear instead of just making a semi-functional AI like they did 13 years ago. And as one final fuck you, they don't even have to listen to physics at all. But truth be told, I'm envious of the AI because they don't have to listen to this radio. The radio in this game is god-awful. This is best represented by a song called I Left My Wallet in El Segundo. This song is so bad, I thought this was some high-level satire
lyrics,
this was made in the studio. And don't even get me started on the commercials. These aren't just stepping down, this is falling off of a cliff. Satire is completely lost on these writers, but that's probably because their #1 priority when writing comedy is safety. This cringe-inducing humor makes kids shows look edgy. Very quickly, I'd like to retouch on customization. This game feels like they always meant to have the lady boss as the only non-customizable character, and then after getting backlash, they just decided to ham-fist it back in. And for what's supposed to be the best customization ever, the clothing is scarce universe spread into way too many stores, and then the only 2 stores that old fans know are locked in the end-to-end game that none of them will reach. The only thing worse is the gun customization. When you level up your guns, they don't change visually at all, at any level. Once again, 9 years ago, back when Volition even still had half a brain cell, they knew to include that. But worse than the gun customization is the open world. I called this shit. It's piss filter galore, you can't go into most buildings, and in fact, some shops will have a building, but then you shop at the shack in front of the building.
Oh, yeah.
The streets are
Less
barren,
modeling
and what
work, I
little
guess.
AI liveliness you do get has the depth of a North Korean grocery store. And speaking of stepping down from old titles, let's talk about side activity. The side activities start with you driving from point A to point B, and they evolve into the endgame activities, which are exactly the same. The best ones are the ones where the objective comes to you, because at least that means the pain will be over soon. The only mission that did play differently was insurance fraud, and that was glitched out so hard for me that
It's kind of funny how, like, I'm assuming this is definitely like an 18+ game, right? I find it kind of weird that in an 18+ game they had to like alter the narrative and stuff like that for the sake of safety. But like when they made the Mega Man Battle Network remakes, which are I believe 3 years 3 and up, they just left a disclaimer at the start of it that these games were made in a different kind of time, and they might have some scenes that might be interpreted as offensive by some, but please don't hate us because the times have changed. And that's it. No, like there's a scene when you go to Netopia, I think, which is like the USA. The first thing that happens when you go to Netopia is that you get robbed by a black man, which is obviously kind of, kind of like, okay, that might be some, racial stereotype at foot, but that's how the games were originally. And, it was a very different time. And it's made by people in Japan who probably have never been to the USA. So they work on pre-constructed assumptions very hard. But instead of quote-unquote fixing that, they kept it the same. Because despite having these kinds of things, it's technically still a work of art, and altering it for the sake of conforming to new norms it's like an infinite process, essentially. It's because like in 10 years we're going to have again different social norms. It's going to be different what's acceptable. Maybe VTubers are going to be considered offensive somehow, and then like you can't be a VTuber anymore without being like an enemy to society. And like that's sort of how it's like do you really want to go on that rumba? Because the people who would really complain about something like this probably wouldn't play the game in the first place anyway. So, disclaimers are probably a pretty strong way of doing this. Is just understand that this game was made at a different time, and it's a product of its time. It's not good to sort of act like things didn't exist in the back in the day, right? But we live in a time where people go digging up like a YouTube video repository from like 1,000 years ago, and somebody somewhere once said that you're a dumb poopy pants, and in the year 2077 the word poopy pants is very, very offensive because there's an epidemic of people who can't avoid pooping their pants. So now it has been culturally transformed into an offensive thing, and now we're gonna go digging people's YouTube histories, and somebody somewhere once said like 20, 30, 40, 70 years ago called someone a poopy pants, and now thus we will cancel them on Twitter. Hopefully Twitter will not exist in 2077, but you kind of get the point. It's basically a pointless endeavor. I don't get it. Is trick attack something you actually use? It is the most powerful skill on Ninja. So yes, absolutely. They actually put the AO rating on something in America. They can't sell it. Yeah, right.
No cars were driving.
But yes, trick attack is the most powerful attack on a ninja. When you get Suiton, Suiton allows you to put down trick attack without hiding. Suiton is sort of very, very good. In dungeons and raids, it's basically all ninjas one. That is absolutely incorrect. Nobody wants a ninja in a dungeon. But in raids, absolutely yes. It is an enormous damage boost. But you need to get Suiton first, which you can unlock once you get the third magic finger shape. So once that happens, then the idea is that you get Suiton, then you put down the trick attack, and during trick attack is when everybody's going to attack their own like burst damage and whatever. That's essentially how it works.
The road, and I had to spend 15 minutes.
It's like the 2-minute maximum DPS window is powerful because of trick attack.
It's on each mission, throwing myself at cars in the Kmart parking lots. Then I had to do that 6 more times because to complete a venture in this game, you have to 100% each activity, whether you like it or not. There are anti-fun mechanics, but this is just a straight up anti-Christ mechanic. This shit is unholy. And before I get to the story, this game's got more bugs in it than a bug's life. I know every member of the Saints Row subreddit received a bug-free copy, but I did not. I got all of it. Crashing, T-posing, AIs not moving during a red alert, floating heads, the enemies having invincibility frames, shops turning into prison cells, and my personal favorite, in the beginning of the game, you can hop off of your motorcycle and it will crash the enemy AI's brains so that they're forced to just blankly stare at you as you kill them. I'd like to pause the video right here to remind you, this game is $60. Anyways, I've delayed long enough, we have to now talk about the story.
Kevin is shirtless, I don't know why.
The writing in this game feels like they went to their local kindergarten and gave the kids 1 hour each day to just go ham at it. Then went to Twitter and let them proofread it to remove anything that may be remotely offensive or creative. And for some reason, I can't put my finger on it. I just can't pay as much attention to this character as I can to this one. I mean, this one I'm at attention. But then
It's like I don't know. It's like a game that's supposed to be edgy and they shave off all the edginess. I don't know about that.
in this one I'm spacing out. I don't know what it is. Anytime the writing steps out of the constant cliches, you get situations like this right here. One mission, it's, we do this for the people, the saints are everyone. And then 2 missions later, you're blowing up countless civilians outside a mall. These characters are the definition of cliche hypocrites that say they believe one thing, then do the complete opposite, with not a hint of satire that would signify that this was actually intentional. Also, because the main story is only 6 hours, everything feels rushed. There's no build up to kill antagonist, it just suddenly happens. In fact, they don't even build up most of the antagonist leaders. I have no clue who he's killing right now. You get to see none of what your actions do to the other factions. You don't even get to officially destroy any faction, and they don't give any hard-hitting reason that legitimately motivates the player and makes the kill feel satisfying in the end. But hey, maybe they just saved all that for the DLC, right? The only character I can relate to in this game is the guy that walked head-on into a train, because that's what I want to do every time I hear the cast make any joke. Twitter people try to say that this humor is just like the old games, but anyone that has played them knows that that is completely false. Even the gaming journalists are aware of it. The old humor actually subverted expectations instead of just going, oh shit, no shirt guy? Oh, he doesn't have a shirt again? Oh my god, I can't believe it. You got me. That was a good one. The old humor wasn't afraid of offending everyone, because that's how satire work. This new humor is straight out of the unfunny asylum that has a hee hee ha ha or board of real funny guys that make sure everyone can be a part of every joke and there's no punching down.
What the fuck? Like, that's so greedy. It's like, this game's target audience is everyone. It's like, that means that its target audience is at the same time no one. is like the most generic horseshit. Is like, come on. It's okay to have target audiences. It's not offensive to have target audiences, even if your target audience is cringy edgelords. Like, you know, it like doesn't have to be made for everyone. It's so weird that we have this culture now where like everything has to be made for everyone. It's like, I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Kind of weird if I say so myself. I don't like it.
It doesn't sound right. These jokes would barely offend a nun, and as a result, this is the end product you can expect.
I never miss nacho night. I'm in line for nachos right now. I really wanted those nachos. Just wanted some damn nachos. That should do it.
Thank God
How
it's
about those nachos?
fuck. Now, finally, let's talk about the ending. But hang on one second. Hey Siri, remind me. I called this shit. This is arguably the best part about this game, but definitely not because it's good. And you know what? For the hell of it, somebody asked me to rewrite the ending because of how bad it is. So this next Fleekazoid Deluxe cut goes out to that guy. Roll it. Volition, you piece of shit. You have been posting cringe for the last 10 years. How many times do I have to teach you this lesson, old man? You bury me under a mountain of dirt in the beginning, then that turns into a shallow pool at the end? Do you guys even read what you're writing? Are you able to? The big bad final boss's motivation is becoming the bestest friend of your friend group? You are on some Care Bears type shit. You keep showing this cat as a part of the team as well. Is that one of your guys' jokes again? Jesus. Where'd you find these writers? Off the lot of She-Hulk? Truth be told, you're a lost cause. I wanted to love this game because I love this series, but time and time again you have ignored the fans, and now you release this piece of shit that was written by—
He kind of looks like Locke from Lost, with a very muscular body, very aggressive nipples, and a funny eye goggles thing.
I children for children that takes every last thing that is Saints Row and burns it into fucking ash until the only recognizable thing about this empty husk of a game is the packaging that you can find completely in stock in Walmarts everywhere. When your studio collapses, make sure you take this franchise into the grave with you so I don't have to come back and do this shit again.
Okay. Unfortunate that like these edgy games have to be downgraded, I guess, from what they are supposed to be, for the sake of including everyone who is definitely not their target audience. I don't know. Kind of weird. If I say so myself. Don't really like it. Just art is art. Just do whatever you feel like, and just because something is, like, let's say popular or something like that, that doesn't mean that it has to be conforming to the comfort zone of everyone, right? I don't know. Kind of weird. Let's see. It is almost midnight. We've been live for about 2.5 hours. Let's watch this video, and if no other submit funnies have come in, then maybe I'll go to work, because I do still have some work for today, because I need to start releasing my webcomic tomorrow. I was planning on starting it today, but then I realized that I have too much shit for today. So tomorrow, I guess, instead is when I'm gonna start it, and I need to figure out how that's gonna work out and other bullshit. So that's gonna be a thing. So I need to prepare like the comment and subscribe things and whatever to go along the uploads. So yeah. I also need to figure out how each like segments the pages and stuff like that. So fucking stupid garbage. But yeah. So yeah, I will figure it out, I guess, today. But let's watch first one of the strangest mysteries ever.
The Somerton Man is one of the most baffling Australian mysteries that has stumped police, scientists, professional code breakers, and amateur sleuths for decades. His identity, his intentions, His cause of death had been unknown since the day his body was found on Somerton
You're a little
Beach
bit early,
in
yes.
1948. Until now. It was early morning on the 1st of December, 1948 at the Somerton Park Beach in South Australia. It was the first day of summer. A man dressed in a fine suit was sitting on the sand, resting against the seawall. Passers-by had assumed he had indulged in too many drinks the night before. However, he hadn't moved in some time, and upon closer inspection, it was clear he was dead. Police arrived on the scene and could not find a wallet or any form of identification. Police assumed the man had taken his own life and would soon be identified through a missing person report, but nobody came forward claiming to know the man. His face was printed in newspapers all around Australia, leading to many tips from the public about his identity, but police couldn't make any definitive matches. A couple who had been walking along the beach the previous night reported that they witnessed a man sitting in the same position and saw him raise his right arm almost like a wave before dropping it limply. The mystery only grew deeper after an autopsy was performed and his personal effects were discovered. The Somerton man was believed to be 40 to 45 years old. He was well groomed and in good shape. He had soft hands and clean fingernails, which indicated he was not a labourer. He had unusually developed calf muscles as well as toes that were squeezed together in a wedge shape. These physical features led many to believe he was a professional ballet dancer. The man also had a genetic trait called hyperdontia, which means he was born missing some teeth. His specific case of hyperdontia was extremely rare though. He was missing his lateral incisors. A cause of death could not be determined and remains a mystery to this day. He had no cuts, bruises, or abrasions on his body. The autopsy revealed he had an abnormally large spleen. His stomach was congested with blood and it appeared he died of heart failure, but there was absolutely no indication of what brought it on. It was ruled that he had died of some kind of poisoning, even though no foreign substance other than food was detected in his body. His clothing was clean and dry and his shoes were immaculate, so he had not washed up on the beach, nor had he been walking in the sand. The tailoring of his suit and style of his tie were more common in the United States and had not yet become popular in Australia. He also did not have a hat, which was unusual for 1948. An unlit cigarette was found on his lapel. More bizarrely, all the tags and labels on his clothing had been removed. Even though a lot of people wore secondhand clothing due to World War II rationing, the discovery left police baffled. The items they found in the man's pockets led to only more questions. They found 2 unused rail and bus tickets, an aluminium comb that had been manufactured in the US, and a packet of juicy fruit gum, which at the time was also available in the US but not Australia. They also found an arm.
I like that gum. I've had some and it's pretty good.
Army Club cigarette packet, which contained 7 cigarettes of a more expensive brand. This was highly unusual. At the time, people will often refill expensive cigarette packets with cheap cigarettes to appear more wealthy, but the Somerton man had done the opposite. Was he perhaps trying to blend in rather than stand out? The man's suitcase was discovered at the Adelaide railway station, mostly containing items that were typical for travellers of that era, but no identification. The suitcase contained some waxed orange thread that had been used to repair the trousers that the man was wearing. This particular type of thread was common in America but was not yet available in Australia. All of the clothing in the suitcase also had their tags and labels removed, but 3 items that had been to a dry cleaner's had names written on them. T. Keane, Keane, written on a tie. Keane, Keane.
Like the man is like a puzzle box. He has a lot of mysteries surrounding him.
Written on a laundry bag. And Keane, Kean, on an undershirt. A search conducted that no T. Keane was missing in any English-speaking country. The Somerton man's photo and fingerprints were sent all over the world, but nobody could work out who he was. Several months later, an inquest was ordered so the man's body could be re-examined. Again, a definitive case of death could not be determined. A plaster cast was made of the man's bust. His body was embalmed and buried in a dry plot of land to slow decomposition. But before his burial, a vital clue was found. Before we get into it, Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this.
Oh shit. The clue will not be revealed unless their subscription happen.
A tiny piece of tightly rolled up paper was pulled out of the Somerton man's pocket with tweezers. Investigators unraveled it and printed on it were the words, "Tamam shud." It was a Persian phrase meaning "it is finished" or "the end." A local journalist realized that those were the final words of a book of classical Persian poetry titled Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. The search was now on for the specific book that the piece of paper was torn out of. A photograph of the words in its distinctive font were distributed through the newspapers. An unnamed man came forward and told police about how he had parked his car near the beach on November 30th, the day before the Somerton man's body was found. He had left the windows rolled down, which was not uncommon for the time, and when he returned, he had noticed a small book on the back seat. It was a match. Did the Somerton man toss his copy of the Rubaiyat into the man's car? Why didn't he dispose of it in a bin? Somerton man's copy of Rubaiyat was a fairly rare edition. The police found some curious and slightly creepy clues in this copy of the Rubaiyat. 2 phone numbers and what appeared to be a code. One phone number was for a local bank, and the other was for a woman named Jessica Jo Thompson. Jo Thompson was the first real lead police had. She worked as a nurse and lived just 400 meters or 1,300 feet from where the body was found. She told police she had no idea who the mystery man was or why her phone number would be in that book. Police took Jo Thompson to the Adelaide Museum to view the plaster cast of the Somerton man. She took one look at it and then immediately looked away. She was visibly shaken and seemed that she was going to faint. She reiterated that she had never seen the man before. The police questioned her further and she revealed that she was familiar with the Rubaiyat. In fact, she was a fan.
Oh.
She said she loved the poetry of Omar Khayyam so much that she even gifted a copy of the Rubaiyat to a soldier she met while working in Sydney during the war. His name was Alf Boxall. After the war, Jo Thompson moved to Melbourne, got married, and never heard from Alf Boxall again. Police tracked down Alf Boxall in Sydney and asked if he still had his copy of Rubaiyat. He showed the police his copy, with the final page and the words "Tamam shud" intact, along with an inscription written by Jo Thompson. Alf Boxall was not the Somerton man. Another strange clue was found in the back of the Somerton man's copy of Rubaiyat. Faint indentations depict a series of letters thought to be a code. Many experts and amateurs have attempted to crack the code for over 70 years, and even modern computer technology has been used. No meaning has ever been extracted from the letters, and Somerton experts have conceded that they are most likely not a code at all. The mystery of the Somerton man has gripped
Maybe they were just like a cheat code for a video game.
Crime enthusiasts for decades. There are 2 main theories about the man's identity. The first is that he was the biological father of Jo Thompson's son and travelled to Adelaide to see his child. The other theory is that the Somerton man and Jo Thompson were both spies, which, considering the social political state of the world at the time, wasn't too far-fetched. She raised Robin with her husband, Prosper Thompson, but in her later years confided that Robin was not Prosper's biological child. Robin Thompson grew up to become a professional ballet dancer. He also had a very rare genetic trait. He was born missing his lateral incisors. Leading Somerton researcher Professor Derek Abbott also found that the Somerton man and Robin Thompson both shared similar unique ear shapes. In yet another strange twist, Professor Derek Abbott ended up marrying Robin Thompson's daughter, Rachel Egan. For a long time, Professor Abbott's hypothesis that Rachel Egan was the Somerton man's granddaughter was considered to be the most plausible. It was thought that Somerton man was made aware of the birth of his son and made his way to Adelaide from America to meet him and possibly rekindle things with Jo Thompson. Perhaps Jo Thompson had rejected him, and the immense heartbreak of not being able to raise his own son led him to take his own life. The other popular theory was that Jo Thompson and Somerton man were both spies. In the 1940s, there was a large wave of European immigration into Australia, and Cold War paranoia and Red Scare were rampant. Historians have confirmed that there was spy activity in Adelaide at the time, particularly Russian spies. There were at least 2 sites close to Adelaide that were hubs for spy activity: the Radium Hill uranium mine and the Woomera Test Range, a British-Australian military research facility. In a 1978 interview, Alf Boxall revealed that he had worked intelligence when he met Joe Thompson in Sydney. In 2013, Joe Thompson's daughter Kate told the TV program 60 Minutes that her mother spoke Russian. Kate Thompson said she believed her mother knew the Somerton Man and may have been a spy. The foreign poetry, the indecipherable code, the tags cut off the clothing, an unknown poison were all evidence that fueled speculation that the Somerton Man was involved in espionage. Exactly 2 weeks after Somerton Man's death, there was another strange death in Adelaide. A man named Tibor Kaldor appeared to have ingested a lethal poison and was found dead on December 13, 1948. Tibor Kaldor had known links to the Australian Communist Party. He had left a note, but investigators found the timing to be strange as Tibor Kaldor had received his naturalization papers a few months prior. In July 2022, Professor Derek Abbott announced that he had
We're just getting like more gears being put into this machine, but they're not lining very well.
Discovered the identity of the Somerton Man. South Australia Police had exhumed Somerton Man's body in 2021 to conduct DNA testing with modern technology, but did not allow Abbott to examine it. Although disappointed, Abbott did not lose hope. With the help of forensic genealogist Colleen Fitzpatrick, an independent DNA testing of the hairs that were stuck to the Somerton Man's plaster bust led to a breakthrough. Abbott and Fitzpatrick constructed a genealogy tree of 4,000 people and found a young man in Melbourne who had a surprisingly close DNA match with Somerton Man. This man's great-great-grandfather was Thomas Keane. The name Keane was written on items found in the Somerton Man's suitcase. But Thomas Keane had death and funeral records, so he could not be the Somerton Man. Thomas Keane had an extensive family tree and each person was looked into. There was one person who did not have a date of death: Thomas Keane's brother-in-law, Carl Charles Webb. Carl Webb was born on November 16, 1905 in Melbourne, Australia. He worked as an electrical engineer and instrument maker. He married pharmacist Dorothy Robinson in 1941 and lived in Melbourne. Carl Webb was passionate about poetry and wrote a lot of poetry themed around death. He certainly fit the profile of someone who would find Rubaiyat meaningful. He was also fond of betting on horse races, and the mysterious letters in the back of his copy of Rubaiyat may have simply stood for horse names. Dorothy filed for divorce in 1951 on the grounds of desertion. It is likely she never realized her husband was found dead in Adelaide. In the divorce papers, she described him as violent, threatening, moody, and didn't have many friends. She described an incident in 1946 where she found him in a confused state and very unwell. Contemporary researchers believe Carl Webb had attempted suicide by overdose. Carl and Dorothy separated in 1947, and there was evidence that Dorothy moved to South Australia. Could Carl have travelled down to win her back? There is also still no explanation for why Joe Thompson's phone number was written in Carl's copy of Rubaiyat. No link between them has been found yet other than they were both from Melbourne. Abbott and Fitzpatrick did further DNA testing with more living Webb family.
Yeah, it's you get demonetized on YouTube if you say any naughty words. Even if the words are in a completely completely justified context, you still can't say words like suicide because it's a bad word, and I guess, I don't know, Jesus won't approve of your wording if you use it or something. I don't fucking know.
Family members to confirm the Somerton Man's identity. The spy theory still remains popular and plausible even after the discovery of Somerton Man's true identity. Tibor Kaldor, the man with communist links found dead 2 weeks after Somerton Man, lived just 10 minutes away from Carl Webb in Melbourne. The two men's bodies were both found in the same area of Adelaide, over 700 kilometres or 435 miles away from home. Carl Webb's 1941 marriage certificate listed his address as a mansion in Melbourne owned by Tristan Buste, a major in military intelligence. At the time, there were other residents of the mansion with military links. In 1942, Carl and his wife moved to a flat not too far from the mansion. That same year, Signal's intelligence headquarters moved to a building directly behind the flat. There are still many unanswered questions in the case of the Somerton Man. You can find many discussions online about the mystery, along with more details about all the clues that have been discovered. Early access to videos, discussions, polls, and
I thought there was like some kind of conclusion to this. Oh. Okay. Well, I guess there isn't one. So yeah. I guess that's it then. Just a mystery. Unfortunate. That was kind of a cock tease. I was hoping some kind of conclusion would have been, yeah, a video of nothing, essentially, yes. Like, it didn't really have a very satisfying ending. But, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go do some work. I have some work to do, and I need to do that and get ready to start releasing the webcomic tomorrow, as much as I don't want to. But yeah. Tomorrow we're gonna play some Monster Hunter. Probably gonna be the entire stream just me getting stuck on Elzelion. So kind of be mentally prepared for that. So yeah. I guess I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Yeah. Bye.